Chapter 14 from A Boy at War by Harry Mazer. Hey, where do you guys think you're going? A Marine sergeant stopped Rinaldi and Adam as they left the building. He was clean, he was neat, he was in uniform. He had a gun strapped around his waist. Well, you're a Marine, Rinaldi said, but we're Navy. Well, you're Marines now. If you can walk and hold a gun, you're a Marine. He pointed to a group of men. Over there with the rest of the volunteers. Rinaldi looked at Adam and shrugged. The sergeant blew his whistle. Line up now. Let's look like something. Whatever you were, you're a Marine now. I know you're a bunch of cooks and clerks. You probably thought you were working in a country club, but this is a war, and we're forming a fighting company. All the time the sergeant was talking, Adam was watching the smudgy sky. Navy anti-aircraft guns were firing. The noise, the chatter and boom was continuous. First thing we do is clean up. The sergeant didn't talk. He yelled. I want you to look like Marines. Follow me. On the double. He ran and they all ran after him. Adam stayed glued to Rinaldi. Even if he wanted to, he didn't know how he could tell Rinaldi that he didn't belong here. Once they found out that he was just a kid, they'd throw him out. Maybe. Or maybe they needed bodies. Better to say nothing anyway. As long as he was here, there was a chance he might find his father. The sergeant set them loose in a Navy barracks. Clean up and find clothes. Take what you need. You don't have to pay for this. The barracks had been ransacked already. Footlockers emptied, clothes, bedding, books, bottles, everything thrown on the floor. They found towels, but there was no running water, and all they could do was smear around the oil on their skin. Yeah, man, this needs paint thinner, Rinaldi said, rummaging through a footlocker. He found a bottle of Aqua Velva aftershave lotion. Well, this is going to do it, he said, dousing himself with it, then passing it to Adam. He threw a blue work shirt to Adam. Man, what happened to your back, buddy? Looks like you went through barbed wire. Bullet, Adam said. Well, it just skinned you, Rinaldi said. Lucky. Adam scrubbed at the oil on his arms, and the whole mystery of the day came over him. Look where he was. Here in this barracks, covered with oil, wearing someone else's work shirt and pants. He didn't know why he was here. It was like the army song. He was here because he was here. That was it. When he thought about the day, was it only a day? It was as if everything that had happened had to happen. The shirt mostly fit, except the sleeves were short. The pants were okay. He found socks, but there were no boots, and he put on a pair of black dress shoes. Rinaldi stuck a sailor cap squarely on Adam's head. Hey, the official look, buddy. Rinaldi's cap was pushed to the back of his head. Adam had a quick look at himself in a mirror, then pushed his cap back like Rinaldi's. Rinaldi nodded. Nah, you look like something. They had hardly stepped outside when the sirens went berserk again. He and Rinaldi dove into a drainage ditch and waited for bombs that didn't come. Adam's face was in the dirt. He had that sweet Aqua Velva smell all over him. He giggled. He couldn't stop giggling, and he didn't understand why. This wasn't a funny place. I mean, nothing funny was going on, but he couldn't stop. Maybe it was because he was alive. He'd been shot, and he just kept going, like a cartoon, like Popeye the Sailor Man. Nothing could stop him. Or maybe he was laughing because now he was a sailor. Did you become a sailor just by putting on a uniform? Not in the ordinary, regular world, but everything today was turned inside out, so maybe he was laughing for no reason because this was a world without reason. Next to him, Rinaldi started laughing too. All right, you guys, what's the joke? The sergeant was above them. Let's go, look alive. Adam jumped to his feet, and he and Rinaldi fell in with the others. Dress right, dress left, left turn, forward, march. They marched double time. They ran. Adam stumbled into the man in front of him, stepped onto his heels, and was cursed. Ronaldo rolled his eyes in sympathy. They marched to the Marine Armory, where they were each given a rifle, a .30 caliber bolt-action Springfield, complete with a sling. Some of the men acted like they'd never seen a gun before. Adam knew about .22s, but this gun weighed a ton. He sighted it, getting the feel of it. He watched Rinaldi loading the clip and did the same. Then he set the safety and slung the rifle over his shoulder. The sergeant marched them to the beach, counted off 10 men, and left them there on guard. Everyone else loaded into a launch, and they headed across the harbor toward the main gate. The enemy planes were gone, but the AA guns were still firing. When they passed the Oklahoma, rescue operations were in progress. Workmen with burning torches were cutting holes in the hulls, trying to reach the soldiers that were trapped inside, but there was no workmen, no rescue operations on the Arizona, which seemed to have sunk even deeper into the bay. Only its flag still fluttered on the stern. Once Adam had climbed all over that ship, and his father had showed him off. All those men who had lined the decks, the sailors and the officers standing at attention in their gleaming white uniforms. Where were they now? For a while, nobody talked. Then they started, one sailor after another, and it was the same story over and over. Yeah, man, when the planes came, I was in the sack. Yeah, well, I was having my first cup of Java. Oh, I had my whites on. I was on my way to the church. Yeah, well, I was sitting in the head with my pants down. This is history, you men, the sergeant said. You're going to tell this to your kids, if you live that long, so look sharp. There's an enemy out there. The Jap planes could come back at any time. Everyone began to talk. The scuttlebutt flew. The Japs can land anywhere they want. I mean, who's to stop them? They could be in Honolulu right now, kissing their Jap cousins. Yeah, well, I heard they landed paratroopers on the Punch Bowl. The Punch Bowl. Adam thought about his sister and his mother alone in that little house. The talk about the Japs made him sick. But when he thought about his father, he wanted to kill too. Man, his nerves were shaved razor thin.